Om Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om
Shri Ram Jai Ram,
Om Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om
Shri Ram Jai Ram,
Om Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om
Shri Ram
Om Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Om Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om to everybody. This 12th November happens to be the Jayanti of our Param Pujya Swamiji. Like any other important days, this will also go. But now we are given an opportunity to plumb deep into the background of his life, his experiences placed before us, and his teachings. So in short, the inspiring life and mission of Param Pujya Swamiji, we are trying to intensely remember, not merely to adore that form, but also to imbibe how he could scale the heights. On the 80th Jayanti day, Pujya Swami shared with us his background, the step by step by which he could scale the heights. At that time he did not say that he has scaled the heights, but we know that. We will just read. And then one portion we will try to connect up with Prabhupada. The difference between him and us is, after a certain point, he started viewing his life, not merely as a life full of joy and suffering or pain, but analytic, with an analytical mind. Papa used to say one can scale the heights only with recollection, contemplation and meditation. If we stay at the surface level, nothing will be clear to us. Before Papa took the plunge on 27th December 1922, which gave a push to the transition from Vittal Rao to Swami Ramdas, what was helping him was this recollection, contemplation, meditation, along with that chanting of the name. And he was able to bring his life in retrospect. Here Swamiji also brings the life in retrospect. So this is the first learning. We see the life back. We were previously putting a label to it, joyful, sorrowful, favorable, unfavorable, incompatible, compatible. Like that, success, failure. We put a label and forgot about it. Now we are not doing that. Let us see how he builds up. It seems to be appropriate today. on the occasion of Pujya Swamiji's 80th birthday in November 1999. It seems to be appropriate today to evaluate what the 80 years of life of this body has taught me and how the lessons have been made use of. First lesson he gives that. The passing away of a closest relation, his mother, when I was only 6 or 7, taught me that everything in the world was transitory. Though not a drop of tear was shed, he was 6 years old when he lost his mother. Though not a drop of tear was shed, the shock then I had helped me to get over all further shocks. Then, as a student, I learned that I should give my full attention, 100% attention to the studies at that time, and later to whatever type of work I had to do, forgetting everything else during that time. Another lesson. Death is taken here, not that I have lost somebody, but the transitoriness, the ephemerality of life. That got stamped. And then next, perfection in everything. Whole-souled attention. As a student, I learned that I should give my full attention, 100% attention, to the studies at that time, and later to whatever type of work I had to do, forgetting everything else during that time. This brought success in life. Watching different characters, another lesson. Watching different characters and the sufferings they had on account of their attachment to their own relations and friends, their likes and dislikes, touched me deeply and made me feel that I should not be involved in the life like theirs. So first was the transitoriness of the life. Second was whole-souled involvement in anything that we are made to involve. Third thing is keenly observing what is happening in and around us. So we find it stems from attachment to individuals or objects. So he was very keen that he should not get attached to anything. He should not get attached to any objects or individuals. I understood the hollowness of life, however brilliant it appeared from outside, like high position, possession of property, name and fame, etc. As I saw that through all those persons, though all those persons had everything, they were still searching for peace and happiness. So the keen observation on the thing. This is how, when that beautiful quotation of Param, the world we live in is a school in which observation and experience offer us immense possibilities for self-improvement. God is parading before us all these things, the transitoriness. We will not be successful if there is no whole-soul involvement. Every misery, every problem, every stressful moment comes to us only mainly because of our attachment to the objects and individuals. Then beloved Papa soon made it clear to me, this is a very important point, starting point, which all of us have unknowingly, unwittingly, we have not taken cognizance of it. Beloved Papa soon made it clear to me that life is God. We thought previously life means starting from the birth, ending with the death. This is called life. It is also called life, no doubt. But we forget that there is a life force because of which now the words are coming. The hand is moving. And what is that? There is one poem of Papa. I am the Supreme One. I stands for that. No? I live in all forms are mine. I rest, R-A-S-T. I rest in rocks, hills and plains. I grow in plants, verdure and trees. I creep in worms, germs and ants. I fly in the birds and fowls in the air. I roam in the beasts of the wilds. I act and move in man, woman and child. I shine in the sun, moon, stars. I rise and fall in the waves of the sea. I run and dance in the flow of the stream. I roar and crash in the thunders of the sky. I flash in the lightning and blaze in the fire. I fill the air and dwell in silence, peace. I glow in the twilight, sleep in the darkness of the night. And to cap it all, he says, I am the life that animates all things. I am the truth that abides in all things. I am the Supreme One, there is none but I. I am the life that animates all things. What is animation he has given? All our sense organs are working. The eyes see, the ears hear, the tongue tastes, the skin touches, the nose smells, the mind thinks, the intellect takes decisions. All these are possible because there is a life force in it. So here Swamiji says, Virat Papa soon made it clear to me that life is God. And life dedicated to God is the true life, and such a life alone can give real happiness. There are two lives here, no? One is the life that normally we call it as life, the journey from birth to death. And the other one is the life force behind it, the animating force, the pulsating, the activating force. It was after that he brought about the external circumstances in such a way as to synchronize with the inner prompting. He had given me to seek him only. He brought me to the ashram to be at his holy feet. From then on, it was a new life and a real life. I could experience every moment what real love was as compared to the worldly love experienced so far. I felt that such a life alone was worth living, though there were minor struggles in adjusting to the new life because of the downward pull of the lower nature. There will be a tug of war inside. It is not that easy. While leaving the old contacts for good, I was told, refuge. No. This is another point Swamiji personally has shared with us. When he decided to join us, he was told, refuge in ashrams for spiritual advancement is necessary only for those who have no backbone. I admitted my backbone was too weak to withstand the pressure of the worldly life and therefore needed protection. There also he did not get offended. But by coming here and engaging myself in the seva of Virat Papa, I found that a much stronger backbone was necessary to successfully perform universal service than what was required to perform the ordinary worldly responsibilities. So I preferred a life of meditation in solitude. But experiences and the strong will of Pujya Mataji made me accept that Guru Seva, perfectly done, could take one to the cherished goal. And the way to get perfection in Seva was Seva itself, supported by Nama and Dhyana. Here, beloved Papa made me understand what a saint is and how different he is from the ordinary. I was happy that I was on the right path and was being guided to the right goal. In beloved Papa, I found my Savior, and in beloved Mataji, my real mother. He taught me that living in the ashram was alone not sufficient for spiritual progress, and that unless it was backed up by intense sadhana, never losing sight of the goal, chances of stagnation would be there. We all know that, stagnation. One living in the ashram should never be satisfied with the relative peace that he gets here because of the absence of other usual worries and anxieties. One should not rest content until he is able to attain the peace and bliss of the eternal. He also taught me, Papa, that we should aim at the realization of the impersonal aspect of God, followed by the universal vision, and not be content with the darshan of God in any particular form, as the former alone is permanent and therefore the highest experience. Another danger to overcome is attachment to personalities in the name of love. Love must be impersonal. In the ashram, he taught me that the more we truly love others, the more our heart expands and the supply from within becomes unlimited. Here the love means it is not the love that we have understood as love. Somebody greets us, we greet him, there is a relationship slowly emerging. We still stay at the surface level. It is an individual to individual. That is not the love. We try to go deep within. What is it that made me to develop the affinity towards that individual? Something in common I have started identifying. There is some inner alignment between me and the other person. What is that? This is called impersonal. The other one is at the surface level, person to person. That will go, or if it is, suppose the next day he doesn't wish, when I greet him, if he doesn't respond, finished. Grumblings, complaints, everything, So that is not true love. So he says, love must be impersonal. Our love should be without expecting anything in return, not even love or gratitude. Here he taught me the joy of giving and how the more we give, the more God provides. Our revered Mataji used to say, if you are too calculating while giving to someone, don't forget that God will also be equally or more calculating in giving you. I also learned that when some deserving person asks for something and if he is refused, we are not only wasting a good opportunity but also not saving that amount, as it will soon be spent in some other way. Only the regret of not having given will remain. If you decide to give, you should give now itself when the other person needs it. Don't ask him to wait till you are able to give. He taught me that our worldly attainments are like tin cells, and that life lived to attain God and get established in God alone is worth living. Though I claimed that I was doing everything, finally he taught me that it was he alone who was taking care of me from the beginning, making me pass through varied experiences, making me do many things, good or bad according to our calculation, only to work out his will through us in his universal game. He alone is, there is nothing but he. So when we are remembering him on the Jayanti day, we learn now so many things. First we have to see the life, our own life in retrospect. At that particular moment we have not brought in this dimension. But now, by the blessings of the Almighty Lord, we can see clearly now how every time he put us in stress and relieved us from the stress, how he changed our fields, how he subjected us to pass through varied experiences, made us to observe what is going on in and around us, and accept life as they are. And then, when we are slowly led by the Almighty to a spiritual preceptor, we don't stop with the surface level admiration, adoring him, prostrating before him. So many such things are at the surface level. It is symbolic. But far from the symbolic level, if we try to go through the teachings, from an ordinary person, how he could scale the heights. That is contemplation, meditation, recollection. And initially, he developed a feeling that he needs solitude and he should be entirely devoted to inward journey. When he expressed his desire to Papa really encouraged him and said, you go to Rishikesh on those days, 1949, 49-50 period. 49, 26 January he came, and after a few months when he was involved in various activities, one day this is what he shared with us. One day he went and told Papa, I have not come here to do all this work. That I was doing it previously, But this will distract me from concentrating for the purpose for which I have come here. Good, Papa said. So he said, I would like to lead a solitary life. Then Papa encouraged him. Then he told him that you can go to Rishikesh. You better take to sannyas, because on those days, unlike today, only those who are spiritual aspirants, they can go and stay, because food, everything will be provided only to them. And stay also. But he said, don't join any ashram. He made it very clear. You stay independently, carry on with your sadhana. So he said, I had no idea of taking any sannyas. So I was little taken aback. And Papa said, okay. So he said, Ramdas will give you clothes, you go there, adopt sannyas. So he went as Anandashram from here and then stayed in a place called Ramnagar, where through probably Swami Satchidanandaji Maharaj an accommodation was given, along with so many other spiritual aspirants. It was on the very near to Mother Ganga, and so as directed by Papa, after 3-4 days probably he went there, and there is no traditional adoption of sannyas here. So he also offered the white clothes to Mother Ganga, put on the khavi clothes, and then wrote to Papa. And Papa replied. He came. Then after 6 or 7 months, somehow, as he said, he received Papa's telegram. On the previous day, he said, I had the vision of Papa. Why after 7 to 8 months now the vision should come, he was unable to understand. Next day, a telegram came to him from Papa stating that Krishna Bhai and Ramdas are planning to go for a trip. This time he is not taking anybody except you if you are willing. So Papa, Swamiji said, I was excited. Immediately I sent back the wire telling that he will be joining. And he joined them at Bangalore, and for 1 or 2 or 3 months. Probably we pursue, it must have been in South India and North India also. And after that again Swamiji wanted to go. And Mataji intercepted, and finally it was dropped. That is why he said, I preferred a life of meditation in solitude But experiences and the strong will of Pujya Mataji made me accept that Guru Seva perfectly done to take one to the cherished goal. And then we all know, when we are closely observing Pujya Swamiji, all these things were explicit in him. Though he was not talking much, very few words. But the very look, very presence gave us the feeling that he is my Swami. Everybody felt him as his. He has got a knack of walking into our mind without any formalities and stays permanent. And whatever, right from the tiniest, there was a whole-souled involvement in anything. He gave us the privilege of closely watching him for more than a decade. So at that time we used to see, even taking out the pen from the, removing the top and writing and keeping it back, taking the umbrella, taking the walking stick, switching on, switching off, taking a glass of water, anything from the tiniest to the signing, to the discussion, to any administrative handlings, we could find a total involvement. Perfection is the nature of something. And though he was we all love him, we know that he is not attached to anybody. He is affectionate to everybody, but not attached to anybody. It is something which we cannot explain. How he was able to maintain that balance. It is like walking like this, at any time the affection can become an attachment. But here he was, because he had solidified, he had become, one with the theme. There was no risk involved in his life. He was never attached to anybody, though he has affection for everybody. Not only to individuals, but also to any objects. Any object. So we are trying to remember all those things, Not to adore him the form, but also adore the values for which he stands out from the rest. And here, how Papa drew us today, we were working on, he said in one of his quotations, that before we start the spiritual journey, we should have the right concept of God, the Spirit. Spiritual means Spirit. Spirit means the essence, the core of my being, God. So we should have the right concept, otherwise we will be just floating on the surface. Papa has given ample explanation about the concept. Then we were mysteriously led to this poem. So many poems bring out this, where he clearly mentioned, he clearly makes us understand what is this life force. And after that, when we open the talk given by Pujya Swamiji on his 80th birthday, we could find the same word. Beloved Papa soon made it clear to me that life is God. So we will again go through the poem. Through Swamiji's Jayanti Day, remembrance, we will try to connect ourselves to the origin of ours. I live in all forms. All forms are mine. I rest in rocks, in hills, in plains. I grow in plants, verdure and trees. I creep in worms, germs and ants. I fly in the birds and fowls in the air. I roam in the beasts of the wilds. I act and move in man, woman and child. I shine in the sun, moon, stars. I rise and fall in the waves of the sea. I run and dance in the flow of stream. I roar and crash in the thunders of the sky. I flash in the lightning and blaze in the fire. I fill the air and dwell in silent peace. I glow in the twilight, sleep in the darkness of the night. I am the light that animates all things. I am the truth that abides in all beings. I am the Supreme One. There is none but I. Swamiji also closes his speech. He alone is. There is nothing but He. This is the advantage. When we look at with a different perspective on the Samadhi day, on the Jayanti day, on the Sannyas day, on all such important days, the greatest benefit we get is, we get more and more clarity on the goal to be scaled. Wherever the improvement is necessary in our methodology, we try to do that. We try to understand the roadblocks, the pitfalls, the failures. And that is why the biographical sketches of masters help us a lot. Not for the sake of adoring them through the form. That is also there is a joy in it. But far more from it. As Papa used to say, you adore a person not because he is a person. You adore a person because of the ideal he represents through that person. So slowly, first he, by his very look, by his pleasing, exemplary manners, we get attracted towards saints. And then we start going deeper and deeper and deeper into it. What is it that makes them to stand apart from the rest of the people? So we start listing down, which are called values. And that values dominate us. The more we think about that values, we get habituated in thinking about values. And then value-based life slowly percolates in. This is how the spiritual journey gets accelerated, which beautifully Swamiji has brought it out. We have got 11 days now. Every day we will try to share some thoughts of Pujya Swamiji also, so that by the time we reach the 12th, our mind will be full with the values for which he stood for. Values, we are talking about values, eternal values. Side by side, Papa is now guiding us. You have formed a right concept about God. So when you open your eyes, you see whatever you see that has been brought out here. Look at yourself. There is another poem where, he makes us to look within. That we will read tomorrow. So, poems are easy, rather than prose. Because in one page it is there. Suppose we are prompted from within, we can go through that again and again and again. Just like, we always try to remember that I find him everywhere. I find him everywhere. The same thing has been brought out by him in that poem. I find him everywhere. You have to keep on hammering it. I find my God in fields, hills and dales, for those who have not heard. In workshop, school, office, marketplace. In plains and forests, in the grazing herd of cows. In home, hospital, in power plants. In huts and palaces, in halls of assemblies, in temples, churches and mosques, in solitudes and caves, in graveyards and cremation grounds. I see him in the sky above, the earth below, in the waters of the lakes, the oceans vast, in the slow, swift-running streams, in trains, in cars, in aeroplanes, as well in gentle-moving bullock carts. I behold him, awake, asleep, dreaming, in birth, in life, and in death. I find him at all times, in all places, in all states. My God is everywhere and everything. He alone is, there is none but He. So when we keep on going, wandering deep over this, then suddenly we find there is no boundary called mundane or worldly and spiritual. In plains and in workshop, school, office, marketplace, home, hospitals, in halls of assemblies. So He demolishes the barrier between worldly and spiritual. We have not applied our mind. We have been seeing it as a school, home as a home, hospital as a hospital, marketplace as a marketplace. And we started identifying, transacting, connecting ourselves as an individual to another individual or a group of individuals. We never brought this dimension that creativity has come in the form of an office. Pursuing the knowledge has come in the form of school. Maintenance of the body, when He gave us the body, He also saw to it that the maintenance of the body is necessary. That is why He comes in the form of hospital. When He has given us a body, it has to be maintained. So it needs food and other articles, marketplace. Like that, we start thinking how He has provided through school, through office, through workshop, through vehicles. Connecting ourselves with everything that we see is as worldly. There is nothing called worldly then. He alone is, there is none but He. So we take it that Papa is offering us an opportunity again and again and again to connect ourselves with Him at all levels, even if we fail or forget. Of course, the link is chanting of His name. So while chanting the name, if all these dimensions are there in some portion of our mind, it should always be there as an undercurrent. Then the Nama is connecting us. That's why he said the Nama is the link between us and Him. It is not merely chanting the name. The name represents, the name stands for the Spirit who is there in anything and everything. So by chanting it, we are trying to remind ourselves. And we try to stretch ourselves. So even on a Jayanti day, Papa chose to connect all these things together. Because Swamiji got the clarity, otherwise, it will be difficult. So when he was also passing through the inner conflicts, depression. Finally, when he landed in Papa's lap, he was able to get this idea. God stands for life force. Easy for him to understand. The one that animates, the one that pulsates, the one that exists, the one that animates everywhere. What is that word you remember? Doctor said, in sleeping mountains.
In flowers he smiles.
Smiling flowers.
In mountains he is sleeping.
Sleeping mountains.
One more is there. Walking.
Up and
lying.
yeah,
Human.
up and doing in human being. The simple words he has said. And finally he said, you should be able to see him as a screensaver. Eh?
By default.
By default, yes. The moment we open the laptop, what is there, it comes out, by default. We don't have to struggle. So he said it should come when you see any object. There should be the touch of love, the finger behind it, the power behind it, it should also come to your mind. By reading it, by hearing it, it will not come. Unless and until we keep on trying to ponder deeply, it will not become a reality. The three words of Papa, recollection, contemplation and meditation. And that means a mental process by which we get connected to the core of our being and the core of everything. But it is not that meditation by closing your eyes, sitting in a particular pose. No. Here what is meant is a mental exercise by which we try to go to the core of our being. By any method that is comfortable for us, anything suitable for us. So let us all try. Papa is giving us so many opportunities for us to think, to go deep and to feel His presence, at least a spark in us. More about it tomorrow. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram 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 Om Shri Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om.